Well, folks, it is the off season, and we have got to talk about third base. Who's on third? Well, we know Carlos Correa, but Esau's going to be back, and Alex Bregman's probably going to opt out in Boston. What does that mean for the Astros? Maybe nothing. Let's talk about it right now.
Jainer Diaz, this is Logjam Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman, and he's Brett Chancey. We are the Locked On Astros podcast, your team every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to us. Go ahead and make us your first listen, Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you make us your podcast, your team every day. And between Brett and I, we have over 18 years of podcasting experience, and we're going to be with you all off season, whether the Astros make some moves, don't make some move to improve the ball club. It's all going to be determined in the next 2 to 3 months. So we'll see what happens. But guys, thank you for becoming everydayers. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. And Brett, I know a lot of people expected probably Alex Bregman. He got a AAV of $40 million per year for the next 2 years. That's a lot of money, but a lot of it is deferred. So he had something attached to him last year that he doesn't have attached this year. Is he going to opt out of his contract with the Red Sox? He had a great year. So what does that mean for the Astros? Outside chance? Not probably going to happen. You already overloaded with third baseman. Where are you going to put the third baseman? You have Isaac Paredes. You have Carlos Correa. What are you going to do with the ones you have in house? So I don't know if Bregman's coming back, but we'll see. And another former Astro is wreaking havoc on the Yankees, and you gotta love it. George Springer, welcome back to Playoff George. Even though it's not with the Astros, it's still good to see.
Yeah.
Some team attacking the Yankees.
Oh, no, and they are my pick to come out of the American League and go to the World Series. I don't know if my Phillies pick is going to hold up. The Dodgers seem like they're just too powerful right now. But, yeah, that was great today. George Springer hitting the Springer dinger. I mean, they were hitting home runs. But what was crazy in that game, you know what? We'll talk later about it because we'll talk Yanks and Jays at the end, but you love seeing New York down 0-2. I mean, they are behind the 8 ball. They got to win 3 games in a row. And they did it last in 2017 when they were down to Cleveland. So it's been done before. But Max Fried went on the mound and became Max Fried. But, you know, this Alex Bregman thing, he's opting out. And you said it, 2 years, $80 million. And you quickly made sense of why Alex Bregman is doing this. Not because he doesn't want to make $80 million, because he wants that 6 or 7 year deal so he can make $180 million versus $80 million. I mean, my thing is this. If the Red Sox are smart, they let Devers go. They let Mookie Betts go. They let Chris Sale go. They've let a lot of stars go, kind of like the Astros. They have that in common. But, Eric, you saw an Alex Bregman that was comfortable in Boston, that took on the role. The Boston players talked about how, man, this guy changed everything when he came over here. To me, for the Red Sox, and, okay, not that I want the Red Sox to be competitive and be better than the Astros, but for the Red Sox nation out there, their owner, who is known to not spend a whole lot, needs to spend and open the bank. That's where a lot of Astros fans are asking Jim Crane to open up his pocketbook for guys like Hunter Brown and Jeremy Pena, who will be up for extensions, hopefully, before the end of their rookie deals. But to me, it makes the most sense for Bregman to stay in Boston. And it makes sense that Boston would make a competitive offer, hopefully, so that he doesn't have to go out and super test free agency. Because we know one thing about Bregman, he's a contender. We know one thing about Bregman, he is a guy that's addicted to the playoffs. He has not missed the playoffs, unlike his counterpart or the counterparts over here in Houston, his old teammates, they missed the playoffs this year. And so Bregman will be on a contender. Mark my words. I think he could return to Boston, but Boston's owner would have to have a change of heart for that to happen. And that's why, I put the thought bubbles, because Correa, Bregman, these guys talk to each other in the offseason. I mean, can we have like an extra infielder? Can we have 2 third basemen? You know what I'm saying? But the Astros are in an interesting position. I think Alex Bregman opts out, and I guess it's a higher chance that he goes somewhere else. But it would be Boston's best interest to re-sign him. He would solidify that team with the young talent they have.
I think what Bregman has that the Astros, I think, were missing this year is the L word, and that's leadership ability. The fact that I think that what he's offered, especially with this time with the Houston Astros, he has all this playoff experience, and he seems to have been a leader, whether it's settling pitchers on the pitcher mound or just whatever has happened over years. It just seems like he was the guy. If you look at the numbers, he had an okay season. He batted .273 with 18 home runs, 62 RBIs with a 128 OPS plus, and a 821 OPS. So overall, they're not great numbers, but the Red Sox know what he did at the leadership advantage. They traded away Rafael Devers just to give this guy a chance to play third base. And what happened once they traded Devers away from Boston? They rose up to the top, and they didn't, of course, they didn't get to the very top, but they got to a position of getting into the playoffs. And you would thought that maybe the Red Sox had a chance of knocking off the Yankees, but the Yankees were the first team in the wild card era, or I guess this generation of the wild card era, where you have the 3-game play-in series, were the first team to lose the first game and actually win the series. So
right.
What Bregman does, he has that leadership ability. And so a lot of people will be like, well, he's making for the next 2 years, $80 million. So to divide that by 2, that's $40 million per year. But a lot of that is deferred. And so he has the opt-out clause. And so I don't know exactly how much of that is deferred, but it is something to keep in mind. And so
right.
He's going out there. He's 32 years old. He's looking for that, like you said, that big payday. And so there's a chance he stays in Boston. There's a chance he goes and plays with former manager A.J. Hinch. There's a chance that he sees how good the Tigers are doing right now.
So I think Eric, that, and I want to stop you right there, because the Tigers, if they go up 2-0 on the Mariners tonight and they go back to Detroit, I don't see the Mariners recovering from that. Now, if it's 1-1, it's a whole different series, right? But yes, the Tigers is the other team. And when I say contender, the Tigers are contenders, and they've got Tarek Skubal. The thing is, though, think about this financially speaking. Whoever takes him on, what does that do with their chances of signing the guys that they want to sign long term? Like the Roman Anthony's in Boston, Skubal in Detroit. I mean, Skubal, to me, if he ever leaves Detroit, it would be like Clayton Kershaw leaving the Dodgers. I mean, Skubal needs to be a career Tiger. That just needs to happen. I would love for him to be an Astro, but that's never going to happen. But yeah, I mean, the Tigers, and I've been thinking about that all along. He won't go to the Padres because they have Machado. I mean, there are a lot of places that have third base, positions pretty locked up. So if Bregman doesn't stay in Boston, I think Detroit, because he was basically said, I thought I was in Detroit, until 5 minutes later, we were going to Boston.
Mark Feinsand said that the Cubs could be an option, especially if they lose Kyle Tucker, if he goes to play for the Dodgers. That could be an option. He said the Astros have a outside shot of doing it. He says a reunion seems like a long shot, but anything is possible. But we're going to talk about why that's likely not going to happen. You already have too many chefs in the kitchen over there at third base right now. So you're not going to be able to fit another third baseman in the lineup unless you get really, really creative. I know this last year, Dana Brown and Joe Espada got creative, but we'll have to talk about who's playing third base next on the Locked On Astros podcast.
Well, the NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss. You should have jumped on it last week when I told you, because the Houston Texans went into Baltimore and did what they've done for the first time in franchise history. They beat the Baltimore Ravens. Yes, I know Lamar Jackson wasn't playing, but that defense was bad and the offense was amazing. So right now, new customers can get just for $5. When you bet your first $5, you get $300 in bonus bets if that $5 bet wins. You could have bet that $5 on the Texans and they would have got it. I mean, that's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And even a game I was watching closely, the Miami Hurricanes versus Florida State Seminoles, because Florida State scored as many points as they did, Miami actually ended up covering the spread. So you can vote spreads, you can do parlays in game, you can do all kinds of stuff. It makes it fun. It takes you from being a casual fan to a diehard going for whoever's on the field fan. FanDuel makes the game experience even better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com today. Download the FanDuel app and get started now.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Go and make us first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts, go and check us out. I know that we kind of spent the first segment talking about Alex Bregman. This is not going to be like last offseason where we spent the whole offseason talking about Alex Bregman. This is probably about it, unless we actually hear some actual news about Bregman. So, but I'll probably have to go get some water or something in a second. But
go get some.
So
Eric,
to kind of wrap up on this conversation, it seems like maybe the Blue Jays could be another candidate for him. I think if you look at it, all the playoff teams are likely to go out and get him. So while I'll go get some water, go ahead and talk about the Astros condition at third base.
Yeah, so at third base, Carlos Correa this last year obviously came back to Houston, and he garnered that third base spot. And my immediate thought is, what about Isaac Paredes? Because he's expecting to make a full recovery. And so let's look at both of these guys defensively. Now, I'm under no illusion to think that Carlos Correa is not going to be your starting third baseman opening day, even if Isaac Paredes is still on this team, which I believe he is going to be on this team. And I'll talk in a second who I think might be off as a result of this move. Isaac Paredes this year was -3 in outs above average in his fielding at third base. Yes, he did make spectacular plays. Yes, he did hold the fort down. But statistically speaking, when you look at the StatCast outs above average on Baseball Savant, he was a -3. Carlos Correa was a +2. And get this, the last time he played shortstop, all of his shortstop with the Twins, -2. When he played shortstop with the Astros, +2. Carlos Correa is your plus defender. Carlos Correa is a guy that will go out there and get you between 15 and 20 home runs, okay? I think Carlos Correa can hit more than 18 home runs, more than 20 home runs on a season. He just got to stay healthy. His expected batting average was top 90th percentile. His whiff rate was still a little high in the 20s. But when you look at his fielding, he could do even better than he did this last year. So Carlos Correa solidifies himself as a starting third baseman. So what does that mean for Isaac Paredes? Well, Isaac Paredes, Eric, is in this boat where he's played other positions. He's played first. He's played second. He's played limited, but he has played these other positions. Now, when he played in 2022 and 2023 a little bit, he was either a 0 or a 2 outs above average fielder there. Well, this year he didn't play any, but he was, again, overall, he was -3 or -1 in 2025 for playing third base. So I think that Correa is your third baseman. Isaac Paredes, even though he's played limited first base, could be your first baseman. and Christian Walker might be on the trading block. And the reason why I say that is because they didn't get out of him what they wanted to. But his deal, although it's still kind of expensive, isn't too bad. You can take on part of the salary, not take a massive hit. You already know what you have, like 30 million, maybe 31 million with his contract. If you take a portion of that and you have a club pay the other half of that, you may be able to reduce that total. Pete Alonso is younger than I thought he was. I don't think he comes to Houston, but I mean, would they entertain that? Probably not, because they're probably going to move someone like Isak to first. Because you and I talked about this in previous shows, and you and I have seen both of these things written about where Isak, the scouts aren't favorable him moving to second. Like we always say, well, you can always play second, but second's not that easy. Second, you're turning two. Second, you've got a lot of different things going on that you don't have at third base. So it's going to be interesting to see the conundrum that's going to be created in the infield. Everybody's going to be playing their you-know-what's off. Jose Altuve, I think, is going to play more DH than we've ever seen him, or he's going to be a DH more. He will play second. I don't foresee him in the outfield at all. But, Eric, what do you think? I mean, do you think they move on from Walker? Do you think Paredes' best position is first base? Because before he got injured, he was your home run and RBI leader.
Well, if you look at Walker, his contract is not terrible, $20 million per year. So
right.
You might have to eat some of that contract. But like I talked about the other day, his what he did on the road, that would be a good indicator of that he's not done. He's not Jose Abreu. He's not somebody that you signed that had no business playing in the league anymore. But he batted .238 with 27 home runs, 88 RBIs. So he did show a little bit of something. He finished with OPS plus of 97. So, yes, he is a candidate to be traded. I'm not going to say that this was a mistake move. I think everybody celebrated this signing at the time. Oh, yeah. And even people across baseball said this is a good move for the Houston Astros, who haven't had much at first base for quite a while. So this was a good move for Houston Astros. But you asked me before the show, who do they trade, Paredes or Walker? If you, with a team full of free swingers, you're not going to trade somebody like Isak Paredes. And you need him to take pitches. You need him to get those walks to extend the at-bats. And Christian Walker, yes, he's good. Yes, he could technically be the DH. And you can go ahead and put Yordan Alvarez, if he's healthy, in left field. You can go ahead and have Jose Altuve play second base, but then where are you going to put Zach Cole? Where are you going to play? Because
Zach Cole's going to the outfield. Zach Cole's going to the outfield. Zach Cole.
I understand that, but I'm talking about the whole lineup as a whole.
Right. Oh, you mean, okay. Yeah. Look, man. So get this, not this week. This week we have tomorrow night, actually, Eric, 8:30 live. We got Jason Alexander going to join us. We got Jason Alexander coming on the show live, Astros starting
Not
pitcher.
the guy from Seinfeld, by the way.
But the guy that really helped this team with a lot of its success and kept the boat afloat. So we're going to talk to him. We got a really fun conversation. And then 2 Mondays from now, we're going to have Jimmy or Kenny on from Astros Future. And we're going to talk about their minor league all-star team that they picked. And we're going to ask them who they think will be contributors in 2026. And you know what? The one Ethan Petco might be a guy that could touch the mound at Dyken Park in 26.
Well, I'm going to disagree with what Corbin says right here. Let's be honest. We don't have a true first baseman. Christian Walker is a true first baseman. He is a premium
first baseman.
Yeah, he's a premium defender out there. He may not hit like you wanted to last year, but he still led the team in home runs and RBIs. Yes, you've missed a lot of time from Alvarez. Otherwise, he might have been up there. He didn't have his best season when he did play, but he is a first baseman. You might be talking offensively, but the Astros, just because of what happened Paredes last year, they had to trade for Carlos Correa. They needed a leader, which I think they traded. Going back to the first segment, they let Alex Bregman go, so they had to make that trade to bring in Carlos Correa for intangible assets that Correa offers. So we'll have to see. There's a whole offseason for us to talk about. But I know, Brett, you're excited about the fact that the Blue Jays are kicking the butt of the New York Yankees. So we'll go and talk about that a little bit next on the Locked On Astros podcast.
There's nothing more I like to talk about the Yankees getting beat in any form or fashion, much like I do with Monarch Money. And Monarch Money is here for you. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth. I know I can't. Whether it's 401ks, whether it's properties, investments, when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. You don't want to do that. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've put off organizing your finances, hello, I'm guilty. Monarch is there for you. I love Monarch. It does the heavy lifting for me. I can link all my accounts, and I have linked all my accounts, and I can see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of my spending, and finally feel like I control my money. Because if you don't control your money will control you. So maximize your investment, increase your savings, and easily review your finances with your partner or your financial advisor, keeping a clear view of your financial health week to week, long term. Don't let this financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONMLB.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Go and make us your first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, go and check us out. We're your team every day, all off season, throughout the postseason. We're going to be your guys, whether you're happy, sad about a move. We'll be here trying to make some sense about what the Houston Astros are doing.
Yes.
Because last year, I know that you and I both agreed that the Astros should have done more. And I think that maybe they kind of counted on some of the injured players coming back. But the Blue Jays, they really built up their team to kind of get where they were.
Yeah,
and even despite maybe not getting off to the best start, they didn't really panic. They just kind of relied on the talent that they had. They did this a lot through some very, very bad seasons, good drafts, and also signing some good players like George Springer. George Springer had a lot of good success with the Houston Astros through the playoffs, and you add that to the budding talent that the Blue Jays already had, and this was a team that we thought would be a juggernaut for many years, and it seems like possibly they could be starting their reign of supreme.
Well, you know, that is the AL East is a tall order because you had both the Yankees and the Red Sox. The Red Sox, I don't think anybody really expected them to compete the way they did. The Yankees, came on strong. They went through their ups and downs. But when you got to this series, if you look at the history of the series, Max Fried in Toronto, it's not good. I mean, he got absolutely lit up, torched. I mean, it was scorched earth in Toronto. There were Yankees fans crashing out saying, "Get out of Canada now. Like, don't even finish the game. Just get on the plane and get back home." The problem is the Yankees have 3 games to win in a row, and 2 of those games will be in the Bronx, and that's fine. But I just think Toronto, like you mentioned, Vlad Guerrero Jr., they've been trying to get him going for 2 or 3 weeks now. Vlad Guerrero Jr. in his first, his first couple games has more hits than he did in his previous 6 playoff games that he's played. Hit a grand slam. Dalton Varsho had 2 doubles and 2 home runs today. Springer added. Even when the Yankees were trying to make a late charge, they actually made it kind of an interesting game. Miles Straw's playing left field, former Astro, making a sliding, diving catch to keep a couple more runs off the board, would have made the game even closer. And so, look, I love to see it. Again, the Blue Jays are my pick to win the American League and go to the World Series. I also pick the Phillies. I think I was disappointed that the Phillies went down 0-1 at home. If they can win game 2, then they have a chance. But if they go down 0-2, they go to LA, I think it's donezo, because at 31 out of the 34 times in the DS, whenever a team has gone up 2-0, that team has won the series. So there's only been 3 times. 2017 was one of the most recent that I remember where the Yankees did it. So it's fun to see former Astros play. And let me tell you, I got to get to Rogers Center. That stadium looks amazing. The view, the skyline. I mean, I want to stay in that hotel in center field. You know, my son goes, let's go stay in the hotel. I was like, well, I don't know if we can do it this year, but that is a really cool place to play. You love seeing George Springer out there. You know, the Blue Jays just got a good thing going. And once they get going, they're going to be hard to stop with guys like Kevin Gausman and crew.
Well, you know that the Yankees are really hating the fact that not only in the last series did they have to face Alex Bregman, but now they're facing former Astro George Springer that has a history of kicking their butts in the playoffs. But we'll see what happens. I'm rooting for the Blue Jays, of course, in this series, but we'll see. It's good to see that the Yankees are just having their issues. But getting back to the Astros, since we are the Locked On Astros podcast, Zach Short, aka Zacharias Short, his time with the Houston Astros is over, as he has elected free agency. So he is now a free agent. So he's looking for a home for the 2026 season. Unfortunately, it was confirmed over this weekend that Luis Garcia is having Tommy John surgery. And so he is out. You might have talked about this on Thursday, but he had another Tommy John surgery. So he's for sure out for the 2026 season. And then, of course, another long comeback. So
yeah,
he's most likely a non-tender candidate for this offseason, unless him and the Astros can come out to some type of extension deal. But I think his time with the Houston Astros is probably over.
Yeah, I think if he does come back, talking to someone close to the team saying that, you know, he would more than likely have a bullpen role and not be a starter. So he would be relegated to that. You know, I'm seeing a lot of videos of our guy, you know, Ronel Blanco doing some work right now. You know, he's in the gym trying to strengthen that arm. He wants to get back to full strength. It would be great to get Ronel Blanco, the one that threw the no-hitter last season or 2 seasons ago now, I guess. But the Astros are definitely going to need some starting pitching, Eric. They're going to need to go out and get at least one starting pitcher. You know, I know they've got a lot of guys, quote unquote, coming back, but we saw how that worked in 2025. So I think such a time as this, that the Astros are going to have to do that. The question is, what is the premium going to be? What is the price that other clubs are paying? And is Houston a place where players want to come? And do they have a bright enough future in the next few years for players of note to come here? And I think the clubhouse culture is second to none. I think what they've accomplished these last 8 seasons has been phenomenal and will probably not be replicated within the next 10 or 15 years. And one of the things people don't talk about is the Dodgers have actually been to the playoffs 13 years in a row. Yeah. And a lot of people don't talk about that in Houston because our hatred for that team.
Wait, are you giving the Dodgers respect here?
I'm just saying their run hasn't ended. They're still, they've been to
Brett, just say you're giving the Dodgers some props.
Well, and here's why.
You can't.
Here's why.
You can't.
Yeah. Well, here's why. And it makes sense because I didn't realize they had done that. I honestly didn't. I thought it was a typo. I was like, there's no way. I actually fact checked the tweet, which is absurd because it was from MLB, that I would fact check an MLB tweet. But I was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't realize that they've been on that kind of run. But at the end of the day, Eric, the Astros have the opportunity to retool, to reload when it comes to pitching, and hopefully have a whole season of Hader, hopefully have a whole season of King and Abreu, Blue Ball. I mean, all these guys in our bullpen. I think Blue Ball is going to be phenomenal this next year, whether he's a long reliever or a spot starter. But there are a lot of options and opportunities. Zach Cole is gonna have a huge chance to shine. Cam Smith is going to be able to hopefully cement himself as an everyday major leaguer. Jake Myers is going to create havoc because he's going to be your center fielder until he's not in uniform. I don't see Chas McCormick really doing anything or being with the Astros a whole lot longer. If he is, he's going to be a role player, and that's it off the bench. But there's a lot of real good things for us to talk about and get to, I think, this offseason. But I'm really most excited tomorrow night about our interview in person live with Jason Alexander. So y'all make sure y'all stop by tomorrow night, 8:30. We will have Jason Alexander live.
All right, and to go back to Luis Garcia, he did have the Tommy John for the surgery for the reconstruction of his UCL. But he also had a second surgery as part of it. He also had surgery to repair the flexor tendon in his forearm. So that's going to complicate his comeback to kind of repair two different things. So that's why it's less likely that the Astros are going to be it's more likely that the Astros are going to non-tender him. But his time with the Houston Astros, when he was healthy, especially during the COVID season, that's kind of when he kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And he gave the Astros a good run. But when it seemed like when the pitch clock came out, that's kind of what set him back. So I don't know if it was direct correlation, but I wanted everybody to acknowledge that this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast on October 5th, 2025. This was the closest that you'll ever see Brett giving the Dodgers props. He wouldn't admit to it, but he gave them a little bit of props. So, guys, that's all we got for this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. Make sure you go and subscribe to us. Go and make us your first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify. Wherever you listen to your podcast, go and check us out, and we will see you tomorrow.
Go Stros. And when you said you wanted the Mariners to get it out of their system, I think you were doing a reverse jinx. I think you jinxed them.